Hi everyone, Gabi here. I am a master NLP practitioner, an EFT coach, and a law of assumption coach here at Create Your Future. And I am your guide where we dive every week deep into the law of assumption and we learn how we can use practical tools and tips and tricks in order to apply the law to our lives so that we can generate our own reality. If you are looking for some coaching or some help, some guidance along the way, please feel free to reach out. You can book a one-on-one session with me in the description box below. Also, we are giving away a free course on how to identify and remove your blocks. That's also in the description box below. And you can find my course offerings as well as my Limitless Love SP meditation in the description box below. So many of my clients have purchased this meditation. They have done everything from bringing in a brand new SP that they've never even met before, to reuniting with their SP, to creating the love of their life, to recreating their SP, and so much more. So go ahead and check it out. So today's video, we're going to be talking about, are you missing anything? And I wanted to have this video to address a couple of things that I've had come up in a couple of my client sessions. So recently, some of my clients who have been applying the law of assumption and really digging into how they can use the law of assumption to generate their reality have been asking, are they missing something? Is there a piece that they're missing? Is there something that they're not doing? Is there something that they could do better at? And I really wanted to address this because I think it's really important. It's something that many of us feel along our manifestation journey, myself included. And first of all, I want you to know that no, you're not missing anything. You're doing the work. If you're doing the work, then you're doing what you need to do. Period. End of story. Now, what is the work? Well, the work is moving yourself into that version of you who has your desire. How do you do that? Well, you can do that through techniques such as affirming, scripting, visualization sets. I personally don't use techniques. And when I work with my clients, we work with what works best for them. But I do share my own process, which is where I just ask myself, who am I being? And then I tell myself my new story. So it's kind of like, almost like affirming your new story, but it's just doing it to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, I accept that. That's true for me. And then you move forward and go about your day and you have a little fun with it. So some of the things that you may say in your new story are a little bit more empowering, a little bit more spunky, a little bit more sassy than maybe what you might say in just a regular affirmation or mantra. But that's really the point, right? To have fun. We are generating our own reality and we want to make sure that we're doing it in a fun way. I also want to address this, and I took some notes based on just a couple of things that have come up in client sessions over the last couple of weeks. First of all, I want to say that as you are on this manifestation journey, you really need to be paying attention to all the little things that, and when I say little, we classify them as little. Us as humans classify them as little. We assign little and big. We assign full manifestation versus partial manifestation. We assign good or bad. Everything is neutral. Everything is neutral. But we really need to be thinking about that there are no big or little creations. There are just creations, just experiences that we are selecting, just reality experiences that we are generating and selecting for ourselves. Okay. And when we do that, we need to be excited about all the things that we do select for ourselves. And what I mean by this is, for instance, I have a client who is right now working on manifesting, moving into this ideal, idyllic, perfect neighborhood and home. She previously had a story that the homes there were out of her budget and too expensive. And as we've been working on her new story, she's had some really great things kind of shift to show her that she is moving into her desired state, which is the version of her who has that home and lives in that neighborhood. So a couple of things that have happened. She was at her kiddo's choir performance, and one of the other parents was talking to her, and they were talking about some new construction that was happening around the school. And the parent said, hey, don't you live over on this street? And the street just happens to be the street of the house that she is manifesting. And so she just wrote that off as a coincidence. And she was like, oh no, I don't live over there. I live over here. But when we had our coaching session, I reminded her that this is something that really we should be paying attention to, because it really was showing that, hey, you have been moving into the version of you who has your desire. You are selecting that experience. And in every moment, every now moment, which is where your power stands, in every now moment, this moment right now, you can choose to either put your awareness or your attention on those things that are showing that you are shifting, that are showing that you're aligning with that new version of you, or you can choose not to. And so we talked about that, and she realized that, she had been using her circumstances and her conditions to let her know whether or not she was satisfied, whether or not she was happy, whether or not she felt like her manifestation was coming in. And when you do that, you are creating by default. You are selecting by default. What you're doing is you're saying, oh, those circumstances, those conditions that are showing me that I don't currently have my manifestation, you are then giving your awareness or your attention to those circumstances, and you are assuming that to be true. That says I don't have my manifestation. That says that I'm not getting my manifestation. That says that my manifestation is not here yet. I still currently don't have my manifestation. This is not what I prefer. And when you do that, when you make that choice, you select that experience, you put your awareness on that experience. What happens is you select that for yourself, and then you continue to generate a reality that then supports that selection. So this is super, super, super important. I'm going to say that again. When you select the experience where it requires you to rely on circumstances and 3D conditions to tell you whether or not your manifestation is done or here, you are creating that by default. You are continuing to put your awareness on it. You are continuing to say, I do not have my desire. When you stop using circumstances and 3D conditions as really your excuse for yourself, right, to not let your manifestation show up, when you are conscious, when you are reality generating, when you are selecting and saying, you know what, nope, what is true for me now is this. I live in this house on this street, period, end of story. That is who I am now. That is who I am now. That is who I am now. When you choose to pay attention to that and you put your awareness on that and that new story, you activate, you literally select or generate that reality. So when you have things that start to show up in your 3D world that are allowing you to see that you are shifting, such as, hey, don't you live on that street? Or ironically enough, I say ironically because we knew this was going to happen, she got a letter from the homeowners association from that neighborhood, which is 3 neighborhoods over from where she lived. And it was addressed to homeowner, but it was her address. And it was mentioning something about a barbecue. And she was like, I don't live in this neighborhood, but she wants to live in that neighborhood. That is her desired manifestation. So she is having things show up the more that she continues to put her awareness on, I live here. This is my reality. This is my truth. And that is what I want to tell you. Really and truly, you're not missing anything. It's just a matter of choosing in the now moment. What am I putting my awareness on? I'll give you another example. One of the clients that I'm working with, she's working on manifesting a committed relationship with her SP, which many of my clients are. She had an event that took place where she and her SP were going really hot. Everything was going really well. And then all of a sudden, no communication, no contact for 3 weeks. When we were talking through that, she had a choice. She could have made it mean, I'm rejected, I'm not wanted, I'm not chosen, he's not committed to me, we're not in a committed relationship. Or she could say, everything's fine. This is just a part of my bridge. I am in a committed relationship. He does love me. I am the only woman for him. I am the one that he feels safe and vulnerable with. And you know what happened? She made that choice. She put her awareness on the latter. She made it mean that everything was fine. Everything was still going in her way. Everything was still working out for her. Everything was still unfolding. And he contacted her. And when he contacted her, he let her know he had been in the hospital having a major surgery. And the day he got out of the hospital, he went home. One of his friends checked in on him, tried to give him a hug. He was like, nope, don't touch me. I don't want to be touched at all. I'm in too much pain. The next day he showed up at her house. Not only did he allow her to hug him, but he was actually cuddling with her. He was actually being intimate with her in that way. And he even said to her, I don't normally let people get close to me. I don't like to feel vulnerable. I'm in a lot of pain, but he let her do that, which just reinforced that choice, that selection of the experience that he feels safe and vulnerable with her. So she had an opportunity. I can choose to make it mean this, or I can choose to make it mean that I'm getting what I want. And she chose to make it mean what she was getting what she wants. And it's continuing to evolve and to unfold. So this is why it is so important for us to take a look at not just every moment what our selection is, but also when things are showing up, when circumstances are showing up, because her getting a phone call from him was a circumstance, just as much as a circumstance of him not talking to her for 3 weeks. Both circumstances, they're both neutral, right? But she made one mean one thing and one mean another, right? That's what we do. As humans living a human experience, we choose the meaning behind circumstances. We choose the meaning behind 3D conditions. We choose to make it mean, oh, I'm getting what I want, or I'm not getting what I want. So if we continue to choose, okay, I'm going to focus on my new story. I'm going to focus on the meaning that this circumstance or this condition means I'm getting what I want. If you do that and you move yourself into a repetitive pattern of doing that, then you have absolute control over the reality that you are generating, because you are taking control over the path of satisfaction, the path of I have what I desire, the path of fulfillment. Okay? And this is a really easy tool for us to put into our toolkit. Just start by gently reminding yourself that in every now moment, I can choose. Do I prefer this or do I not? If I don't prefer this, well, then I'm going to put my awareness on what I do prefer. And I'm just going to say, you know what? This is who I am now. This is what I accept as true for me, and move forward. And do so in a light and easy way for you. You don't have to hold on to that super tight and like kind of beat it down. You don't have to do that. You can just say, you know what? Hey, I do not prefer this. Let's take an example. Money, okay? You're looking at your bank account and you have negative $10 in your bank account, US $10, okay? You're also looking at a bill that's $100 and you have to pay this bill, okay? You can say to yourself, I'm not happy with my account being negative and this bill coming in, and I'm so stressed. And you know what you're going to do by making that choice, by choosing that experience, by putting your awareness on those things, you are then going to continue to have more bills come in, or your account is going to go more negative, or you're going to get an overdraft fee, or anything to that nature, right? But if instead you choose in that moment to say, you know what, not really what I want, not okay with this. I know that this is what's happening, not really okay with this, but what I do want instead, what I do prefer instead is I feel abundant. I am the love of money's life, and it is always there for me. It is always showing up for me. It is always supporting me. I don't ever have to worry about it being there. It loves me. I am its life. I am the one for money, and money is the one for me, and it is the best partner in the world. And you put your awareness on that, you're going to start to shift into the version of you that has abundance, into the version of you that feels secure and content with your financial status, into the version of you that no longer is seeing a negative account, that no longer is worried about a $100 bill. I promise that is how the law works. And the law is a faithful servant. It works this way for everyone. No one is an exception. You have the absolute control to select. Do I prefer this or do I not? If I don't, let me tell you what I do prefer. And I'm going to say that this is true for me. This is what I prefer. This is what I choose. You really can't focus on the problem, the 3D circumstances, the conditions to get to your desired solution. Fulfillment doesn't come that way. Fulfillment comes when you are entirely focused on having your desire. When you focus on the 3D conditions, the circumstances, the lack, you only attract more of that into your life. You attract other circumstances, people, events, situations that will reflect and reinforce that lack. But the opposite is also true. When you focus on what I do want, what I do desire, how that is mine, how I am powerful, how I am worthy, and I do deserve this because I am made of stardust, then that is what you will attract more of into your life. That is what comes into your life. You will have more and more circumstances and people and events and 3D situations that will support that belief system. And so you're not missing anything. You're not. You just need to choose. You need to select. What is your preference? You know, I'm going to end with one other example, and this is a general example from many clients. Many clients will do follow-up sessions, and they're like, Gabi, I've been doing the practices, I've been doing the techniques, and it's not here yet. I don't see it. It's not here yet. I don't see it. That is also looking at a circumstance. That is looking at lack and saying, okay, I believe it. I believe lack. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I did it too. I cannot tell you how many times I would sit there and get so frustrated. I have been focusing on my new story. I have been embodying the new version of me who has my desire. I have been feeling the fulfillment. I have been making the choice, continuously choosing my preference and choosing my preference. And it's not here. It's not here. It's not here. When I stopped noticing the lack and started telling myself, it doesn't matter what is showing up in the 3D. It doesn't matter what the circumstances look like. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. When I started doing that and really telling myself that it doesn't matter, not a big deal. Doesn't matter. I'm powerful and I get what I want. And it's not the statement of I'm powerful and I get what I want that brought it into my 3D. What was the catalyst of bringing it into my 3D was no longer assigning meaning and no longer assigning truth, no longer assuming that this is real, that the lack of it showing up in my 3D was real for me, was true for me. When I started saying, nope, not me, that's not me. That's another Gabi, that's another multiverse. That is not me. That is not what is happening in my reality. This is what is happening instead. And I assume that to be true for me. And I put my awareness on, this is who I am now. This is the version of me who has my desire. This is the desire that I have. Period. End of story. This is true. Everything started shifting. And that 3D circumstance started changing. And my desire started coming in. And I had so much fun with it. So much fun with it. And I still do. I have manifestations that I started on my initial beginning of my manifestation journey that are still unfolding. My manifestation with my SP is still unfolding. And I love it. My manifestations with money are still unfolding. They still delight me every day. Do I stumble? Do sometimes I forget and say, oh, hey, this looks kind of real over here in the 3D. Yes. But then I say, you know what? I'm not putting my awareness on that. I'm not accepting that as real for me. That's not true for me. I'm going to assume this is true instead. And then I put my awareness on the version of me who has my desire. I put my awareness on my new story. So you're not missing anything. You really aren't. You just have to put your awareness on what you assume and choose to be true for you. That's it. I'll see you again next week. Bye.